Welcome back to NFT 101, the podcast where we inform you of all things non-fungible. I am your host for some reason, Matt Ryan, and today I'm joined by a man who is not only a CEO, but he is the block head. He is the CEO of Blocks, Juan Hernandez. Juan, good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Glad to have you here. So first and foremost, you guys are getting ready to list with BitMart this week. This is going to drop on Friday, on listing day. How excited is everybody at the office? And for people who want to know more about Blocks, give us a bit of the rundown.
Yeah. I mean, yes, this Friday we're listing on BitMart. The entire team is just pumped up. We've been working tirelessly for months, for over a year actually, on the platform, the product, and getting everything to market. And so yeah, super excited for Friday. So for those that don't know, Blocks, easiest way to describe us is we're a metaverse as a service platform. And that's a lot of buzzwords, but basically we provide tools for NFT communities to be able to build custom metaverse environments for their users. So for example, one of our first partners that we worked with was the Meebits community, working with them to create this Meebits environment where everything is themed Meebits style. You can walk in as your Meebits avatar. We check your MetaMask wallet, let you use the avatar as your actual digital version in the environment, and building out an environment suited just for their needs, working with your community on the distribution. That's basically what we do in a nutshell. And so we've worked with several additional communities beyond Meebits. We're gearing up to launch several more. And basically, we think that the metaverse should be accessible to anyone and everyone. It should not just be available to those that can shell out, a pretty penny for premium metaverse land. We think that, the technology is going to continue to evolve, and soon everyone will have their own metaverse environments. And the key thing there is then to be able to connect and interoperate between all these environments in a way that's very seamless and smooth, so that you're not having to switch wallets or switch apps or toggle across 80 different tabs. It should just be one seamless experience. So that in a nutshell is what we're working on. Obviously a great time in the space. Despite the bear market and sort of the cool down, everyone is still super excited for the potential of Metaverse and what it can do.
And yeah, it's really great to hear that you're making this accessible for anyone. A couple of weeks ago, we had a guest who were creating luxury spaces in the metaverse and basically establishing like museums and mansions and all these different things. And these are great. They also had a rocket launcher, which really played well into their favor. But when you talk about having that ability to be cross-platform, to create this intersectionality between different parts of the metaverse, creating these different communities or working with these different platforms, it's something that we're seeing a lot in gaming, with cross-platform gaming and traditional, your Xbox, your PS1s, your PCs. What do you see the platonic ideal of Blocks being for a community, for a fan group, or for a token, or for somewhere in the metaverse?
A lot to unpack there. I mean, that interoperability element, everyone talks about it. It's a buzzy term, but very few do it. And it's easy to understand why they don't do it. First off, it's hard. Second of all, you want to try to capture as much value yourself as possible. And so if you let people kind of, mix and match and bring in outside assets, and you can't sell them that outside asset. So, we see, there's a lot of that at play right now, right? If you buy a Sandbox avatar, you can't use it in Decentraland. You have a Decentraland wearable, you can't use it in Sandbox. And, same applies for crypto voxels and some of the other players out there. And so, that to us, it has to be a two-way street. Right now, we actually do support Sandbox avatars in our environment. So say, for example, you own a Snoop Dogg avatar that you purchased on Sandbox, I believe, from the notable Doggies collection, as it's called. You can actually use that on our platform. We'll check you connect your MetaMask wallet. We'll see you have it in there. We'll give you the option to load it up. And, we support other Sandbox avatars as well and Decentraland wearables. But right now that is a bit of a one-way street because, for true interoperability, it has to go the other way as well. And so, we take a bit more of an Android approach than an Apple approach, if you will, where Apple, tries to control the whole ecosystem and you need to use Apple certified products to use their platform. And that's a model that obviously clearly is working very well for them. So I'm not going to knock it. But for us, the Android model is a little bit more our style and sort of the ethos that we think fits within blockchain in general. Just kind of letting you, BYOA, as we like to say, right? Bring your own avatar, bring it from Sandbox, bring it from MeBits. We support. We're doing a big rollout with the Nouns community. We have a Nouns Town, which I can talk a bit more about. And there, some of the independent third-party designers within that community have built 3D avatars, and we allow users to bring in those avatars and use them on the platform. So I think that that's something that you're going to start to see a lot more of. Right now, it does very much feel like early days of the internet, where back then, you had your AOL and your Yahoo, and if you weren't on the AOL or Yahoo homepage, you did not exist. And that's what it feels like today in the metaverse, right? If you don't have a presence on Sandbox or Decentraland, it's like you're not in the metaverse in some people's eyes. But much like the broader internet, sort of the publishing tools evolved for general Web 2 sites, and soon everyone had their own website, and you don't need to be on a AOL homepage or a Yahoo homepage to have a strong presence. You can make your own presence and drive traffic towards your own site. We think that's the way the metaverse is going as well. So to answer kind of the second half of your question, we think people will continue to have their flagships, if you will, on the Sandbox and Decentraland type environments. But much like Web 2 sites, you have hyperlinks. The metaverse is no different. You can have hyperlinks. You can teleport from one platform to another. And there, if they want to have a deeper, more engaging, more customized experience, then they can drive people to their own metaverse environment that will be using a product like ours, like Blocks, or there are others that will follow in our footsteps. So I think there's going to be, I hate to use the term WordPress for metaverse, but there will be WordPress-like tools where anyone and everyone can then proliferate their own environments, their own sites, their own destinations in this exciting new frontier.
And I love the Apple and Android comparison, and also the WordPress thing, because not everything is going to be built for the user in the same way, and users have different wants, different needs. If you're an Apple user, you're using it for a specific reason. You have you like a specific UI, you like a specific methodology. Android's predicated on creativity and building and developing, and there's this little more experimentation there. And I think that speaks to the marketplace in general, because it comes down to the argument of utility against applicability in art. With a lot of NFTs and a lot of things going on in the metaverse, it's either got to look cool or have an actual function to it. And I think you're starting to bridge the gap when you talk about WordPress, and you can have these different skins, these different layers. They're all built on the same code. They're still built on the same system, but there's enough pliability within it to really allow people to express themselves or showcase or work on and present what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, right now, there's still a bit of, there's a bit of friction still with the different standards and the different formats out there. And it's very much, I just keep throwing old school analogs or comparisons. It feels very much like the VHS versus Betamax, type scenario, except there's 20 different, videotape formats, if you will, to use that comparison right now. Because I mentioned an asset from one metaverse platform not be compatible with another. There's still just too much, proprietary formats out there. One of the things that we're championing is just the use of open source standards and making it so that, one does not need to convert their asset from one format to another, because that's just a lot of friction, and people don't want to do that. People just want their NFTs to work across different platforms, and we're trying to support that. Because it is, again, it does go to that ethos of, you actually having true digital ownership over the assets that you're buying, be it either, the currencies in the form of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or others, and then also, your NFTs, which right now, yes, are very much just digital collectibles and toys, but soon will come to represent a whole lot more. And if you think of an avatar as you're a visual digital representation of yourself, you want that to just work across multiple environments, multiple platforms, and not be siloed just to one environment.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the console wars, to continue with the old analog comparisons.
Yeah.
Is that like each platform, each methodology speaks to a specific subset of the audience.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think as we continue to see, much like you see with Xbox and PlayStation is very focused on proprietary gaming, proprietary technology. Xbox is a little more open source. They deal with a bunch of different developers. There's so many different ways to look at that. And then there's Nintendo, which is out of the box. You know what you're getting. You know exactly what it is. It's got the defined brand name, the defined games, all these things within there. I think the Metaverse and the NFT marketplace in general, and we'll talk about your blocks token, your governance token, because I want to learn a little bit more about that. You understand that market, and I think the NFT, entire industry is going through a speed run of that now. I think that the adoption and the adaption of this stuff is going much faster, and we're seeing it with the market, the big boom, and now we're entering into the bear market. I think that this is kind of finding its footing. We see this a lot with emerging technologies. We saw it with the internet, we saw it with video games, we see it with television. These are big bangs, and then things kind of find their footing.
Yep.
When you look at the governance token, because all of this is predicated on the audience, on the community, and you have a governance token that's going to be the key to your community. Can you explain a little bit of that to us, and how important is the community to overall goals of blocks?
Yeah, the community is key to everything we do. And without a community, the platform just doesn't exist. Now, to that end, we do rely on our partners a lot to grow the community. And as we work with each partner to allow them to create these custom metaverse environments for their users, the expectation is that they will bring their community along, and then the counter expectation is that we're adding enough utility and value that their community stays and engages. Because certainly there's a lot of metaverse options out there, and we know that we need to provide engaging tools and functionality, otherwise people won't stick around. So the community is paramount for us. The token campaign is largely, dare I say it, a marketing campaign to reach new communities, not just across NFT, GameFi, and Metaverse pockets across the crypto landscape, but geographically as well. We worked with a number of high quality launchpad partners that focus on different geographic regions, be it Asia, Southeast Asia, India, Latin America, Europe, etc., or the Americas. That to us is one of the key elements of our token campaign to gain access to these new communities. So, the token itself primarily functions as there is that governance element, but it is a reward mechanism first and foremost. So going back to community, we want to reward the community for engaging. And so that takes two shapes on our platform. One, you can acquire land inside of each of these custom metaverse environments. So if you love Meebits, you're a Meebits holder, and there's a Meebits metaverse environment that the community is supporting, then you can acquire land in there and build stuff in there and attract more Meebits community members and grow the community and strengthen it. And so we want to reward you for that. Effectively, to really distill it down, you're creating a lot of user-generated content that's attracting a lot of activity and engagement, and we want to reward you for that. And so the token does go towards the landowners who are cultivating the land, who are putting NFTs up in their space. The platform has very much a Animal Crossing vibe, if you will. So a lot of it is right now is like decorating your space and putting NFTs on the wall and changing themes and doing, sharing it out on social. So if you're doing that, we 100% want to reward you. On the flip side too, there's, the guests, those that don't own land, but are still adding significant value back to the ecosystem because they're the guests. They're coming in, they're checking out the spaces. We have a daily check-in mechanism where you can, in each environment, in each space, you can check in once a day and you earn points that way. And so those points convert into tokens. So, we want to reward not just the landowners, but the people that are visiting the land, checking it out, engaging, driving activity back, sharing it with their friends as well. So for us, the community and the token go hand in hand. We see it being a conduit to us being able to reward the community for their engagement. And so that's primarily what it is, the token. And then the governance element is then around further community engagement. So being able to vote on, for example, a proposal system that we're rolling out where every month we'll have anyone from the community can submit proposals to the broader DAO and say, hey, here's how we want to proliferate blocks. We think we can build, we're a group of artists, we want to build out these different graphical elements that can be ported into the system via the SDK, or we're developers, we want to try to extend the API in this fashion, or heck, we run a YouTube channel and we want to showcase blocks to our community. And so we'll allow different community members to submit proposals this way. And then the community votes on which one of those proposals gets passed, and then they'll receive allocations, grants basically, of the tokens in order to execute on their proposals. So that, again, goes back to like proliferating the content, proliferating the blocks platform, and getting more community engagement. So both the reward side and the governance side go hand in hand with where the end goal is community and engagement.
And community engagement, I love what I heard, the opportunity to kind of democratize the entire platform, utilizing the DAO, utilizing these tokens, and being able to just basically play to earn, build and earn. And if you want to learn more information about Blocks and you want to be a part of it, obviously today is launch day. We are on, Blocks is now on the BitMart Exchange. We're so happy to have them on this side of the street. But if you want to learn more about it, go to joinblocks.com. That's joinblocks.com. No Z's. Blocks is spelled the traditional way. That's another thing that we're learning about the metaverse, that the early 2000s are back and there's a lot of Z's in places. But it's great to have you guys on the platform. And if you wanted to convince people who listen to the podcast, who watch the show, one thing about Blocks that you're the most excited about, the thing that is driving you with this project every day to get out of bed. You are the blockhead. You are the chief executive officer. You're the guy at the top. So you're the one making all of the hard decisions. But there's something deep down inside of you that makes you feel like a kid again, that gives you that little oomph in the morning when you're getting ready to go to work or getting ready for work. What's that thing that's driving you every day with this project?
I think it's just seeing what the community will build on top of everything. And I'll go back to the prop house example, which, full disclosure, we're borrowing that concept from the Nouns community, who has, who've kind of matured the concept of a prop house. I think there, I'm just excited to see what proposals come in from different groups, because so far, we have an SDK, we have an API, we have ways for artists and developers to build out on top of the platform. And that's taking the form of just traditional, like, people submitting, pull requests or something on our GitHub repo, or people sending in artwork for us to consider. But I think the prop house mechanism is going to be exciting because it's going to open it up to non-technical, non-hardcore designer audiences. Like, again, someone who just has a community and they're like, hey, I'd like to submit a proposal to expose blocks to my audience. And here's what I'll do. I'm asking for this much in tokens, and here's what I'll do in return. I think that, and then letting the community vote on that just democratizes the entire proliferation process. And I'm excited to see what comes forth from that, because, seeing the prop house model used in different ecosystems so far, just been incredible results. And it's been so explosive that I'm excited to bring that to our ecosystem and see kind of what develops from there.
Well, we're excited to see what happens on this project and see what comes next from Blocks. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, the Chief Blockhead joining us here on the program. For more information on Blocks, please head on over to joinblocks.com. That is joinblocks.com. Juan, thank you so much for joining us here today on the BitMart NFT 101 podcast. If there's something that you want to shout out, the specific social media, the Discord community, let the people know where they can find you, and more importantly, where they can interact directly with the Blocks community.
Yeah, jump on the platform. Our Twitter and Discord links are there. So joinblocks.com. We're the whole team's in Discord. We love feedback from the community. And play with the product, please. We are live. We are in beta. You can actually get your hands on the product and use it today. Give us feedback. We incorporate that feedback. We do short development cycles. Love hearing from the community.
Be a part of the community. Be a part of the Metaverse frontier. Become a pioneer inside the Metaverse with Blocks. Juan, thank you so much again for joining us. This has been NFT 101. Now here comes the part with all the legal stuff.
Hey, Nathan here from BitMart. Hope you liked that conversation. I know that I always do. It's great learning more about crypto and kind of putting a face behind all the technical jargon. But that's not the last thing we have to do. We've got to get some legal stuff out of the way, and so here it goes. All opinions and actions expressed and undertaken by the hosts and guests are individual opinions and actions and do not reflect the views and actions of BitMart. BitMart does not guarantee the accuracy, applicability, reliability, integrity, performance, completeness, or appropriateness of this content. The value of digital currencies can go up or down, and there can be a substantial risk in buying, selling, holding, or investing in digital currencies. You should carefully consider whether trading or holding digital currencies is suitable for you based on your personal investment objectives, financial circumstances, and risk tolerance. BitMart does not provide investment, tax, or legal advice. Use of BitMart services is entirely at your own risk.